Hi, my name is Ryan Bishop. I'm Managing Director of JackEnterprises Limited. It's my pleasure to introduce you to my blog, Business Process Improvement. These are 6 stages that we use to help businesses improve. This is not a comprehensive guide, it's a quick overview. JackEnterprises is a software development company. We're based in the UK, but we support clients all over the world. So what are we going to do in here? We're going to look at the 6 stages to implementing improvements. We're going to have a little discussion around how software can play a part in that optimization. It's intended mainly for business owners, IT managers, and those who are interested in how software development can play a part in improving their business. Firstly, we should start with defining what a business process is. So Wikipedia defines a business process as a business process or a business method is a collection of related structured activities or tasks that in a specific sequence produces a service or product for a particular customer or customers. It's a little dry, but in more natural language, what it basically means is a business process is logically linked series of tasks. When you group those together, they form a sequence. And that sequence together completes an essential, let's hope, output or outcome for your business. There are plenty of examples of business processes, so I don't need to go into too many details for these, I'm sure, but just to give you an idea of some of them. So a hire-to-fire process, this is everything about how you recruit and onboard your employees through to how they leave the company. Procure to manufacture, everything to buy and produce any products that you sell. An order fulfillment, the process of taking confirmed order through to fulfilling that order. In the next stage, we briefly touch on those key stages in optimizing a business process. Stage 1. So this is documenting your as-is. So understanding how your business actually operates today is a critical first step in your process. And if you don't do any of the others, this is the main step that I recommend to our clients. Quite often, the steps that you think happen for a process within your organization, you'll be quite surprised to find that they actually aren't. Any process typically involves different people, systems, and a variable time period, and these can introduce uncertainty and variations in the process. It requires you to take some time away, document the process as you understand it. At this stage, don't be too ambitious with the scope. Keep it within the remit in the area that you understand. Keep it small, and make sure that you're focusing on something that you can easily achieve in the time frame that you've set for yourself. You know, whether you focus on the use of a mobile app, the interaction of your clients on your website, or the subsequent process, keep it simple. Next, don't get hung up on how you capture the as-is business process. And I'm going to say this one again. Don't get hung up on how you capture the as-is business process. All too often, clients get caught up with technology and tools that they can use to help document these things that help, in quotes, save time. Quite often, you spend more time learning the tool and it not quite achieving what it is you're trying to demonstrate or show, that I always suggest you go back to what you know. If it's pen and paper, it's pen and paper. A very simple flow chart or flow diagram is usually one of the easiest things that most people can understand. For each of those tasks, the things that I recommend that you consider, the task itself, make sure that all the tasks on your business process are at the same level. So some of them aren't too long running and too high level, and some of them aren't too detailed. For each of those tasks, think about who should complete it. Is it a system? Is it a person? Is it a combination? What do they require to start, complete, and pass on? This is a lot around your inputs and your outputs of your process. And then think about any decisions required afterwards. So what decisions are required based off the data? Once you've written that down, share it with a wider audience. This is your peer review time. Don't be tempted to involve everyone or start the optimization process, but keep the number of people involved to the lowest and focus on the as-is. Stage 2, you're defining your goals. Second stage is for you to think about what you're trying to achieve. Often you'll be reading this, you'll already have some concerns, and you'll be looking for these types of blogs to help you. Perhaps you need to increase sales, reduce costs, or simply justify where somebody could change the way you do things in your organization. Now is the time to list some of those measurable objectives. Make your goals measurable, realistic, and proportional to your ambition for change. We'll discuss this a little bit more later, but setting unrealistic goals will mean you'll surely fail, or you'll fail to achieve the change that you were hoping for. If you want to reduce the time taken on producing quotes, for example, improve the number of quotes accepted, or reduce the cost spent on creating a quote, now is the time to understand what your current metrics are. Note I used the word quotes there in the last 3 examples, but I looked at them in a different way. Each of these are metrics that we might want to measure and understand and how we're achieving today before we can attempt to understand improvement. I find this serves 2 purposes. Firstly, it ensures we have a target to achieve or beat, but more importantly, it challenges you to think about the business process, its true costs, and whether your expectation is actually aligned with reality. Quite often, you will find that areas in the business that you believe are performing well are the areas that you need to spend the most focus on, because these are the areas where you can yield the best results. Stage 3 is around identifying optimizations. After we've defined our goals, we can now reevaluate the process to see where we might want to have a small change or to make a big difference. This can be difficult, as looking at a process that you follow for a long period of time can often be a challenge. But take it step by step, make very small adjustments, and focus here. Next thing is do you need this process? Should you actually be doing this? Are there any industry or online examples or other processes that you might be able to compare with? Hopefully you've determined by now that the process is required and that perhaps there are some areas that need to be improved. Next is to focus on each of those tasks. Is the right person completing this task? For example, asking a software developer to test software will work, but how effective is it? And is it the best use of that resource for that cost? Perhaps they're taking longer than they should, or there are unnecessary duplication or documentation adding time, or worse, wasted time. Any process where there are loops between people to gather information can be optimized. Introducing a system to capture the information early on in the process once will be the key here. So for each of those optimizations, we're going to list the following. Who is impacted? How big is the change to the humans involved? How big is the system change? What is the cost benefit, number of times per week, month, for example, the amount of time wasted, the cost of that time, and that will give you the cost benefit per week, month. Is there an appetite for change? Just because it's a good idea doesn't mean you should do it. There might be legal, human factors, or other influences which will mean it's just simply not worth the effort. Stage 4, define your to-be. Hopefully the easier part now. So use that same modeling method that you used at the start to write up and document your target process. This serves two purposes. One, it helps you to clarify your changes. Secondly, it helps you to document that to a wider audience. You should be clear in any of those changes, who is impacted, what the possible business benefits are. Remember to sell, sell, sell. Sell the benefits to the employees who are going to be impacted, sell it to your management team, and sell it to yourself. If people don't believe in the change, it simply won't be accepted. Now, in stage 5, we look at the steps to determine the transition. The change that you might have determined, the target business process, might be so great that simply doing that in one step is too big and ambitious for your business. So define it into small logical chunks. My suggestions start with the low-hanging fruit. Typically those that impact the least number of people and systems and would receive the least opinion if they were changed are the easiest to start with. The very fact that you start with these will demonstrate that change is possible within your organization. That change could be productive, and it warms people to the idea that not all change is bad. Remember, group each of those changes in a logical way. Don't try and jump around, and don't try to involve too many people unnecessarily in this process. Ideally, you're looking for a change period of no more than 6 months, and make a note of all of your budgetary requirements, software development, internal change, consultancy, and make sure your timing is timed such that it's a low in the business. Avoid end of year, peak sales seasons, holiday periods, for example, as you're more likely to succeed in the times when people have more availability. Stage 6 and the final step. This is your implementation, where you actually execute the project and change management. Now, you've hopefully secured your budget, you've communicated your change, and you've gained clear mandate from any management to ensure that any change is driven in your business. Make sure you've got a clear plan to implement, and then make sure you communicate that early. Communicate it clearly and repeat that message over and over again. Those who are impacted by the change should have the most attention, and ideally a member of each of the impacted teams should have a stakeholder management role within the project. The stakeholder here is not to control or drive or determine the output of the project, but they are there to take the key messages back to the team and, more importantly, foster acceptance of the change within the team. The news is littered with many failed projects, and one of the key reasons why these fail to land is around the lack of change management. As a software development company, we take pride in the fact that we focus on business process improvements. And although we deliver great value solutions to all of our clients, one of the things we're most proud of is the fact that we ensure that the solution lands well within your organization. There is no point in developing a leading edge ERP solution within your organization if your current structure will only enable you to use 10% of that, because it is a wasted investment. Personally, having supported numerous projects to deliver into companies where change isn't always welcomed, I'm very aware of on-the-ground challenges that can be faced. For example, deploying new mobile solutions to drivers across Europe in multiple languages, implementing warehouse management systems and centralizing procurement processes in some of our projects that we've managed. We're very aware of the need for local change management and for central coordinated change management when deploying. So I highly recommend with any project that you implement that you take heed of change management. Summary. So business process optimization, like any process, can be viewed as extremely complex or really simple. There's no doubt the benefits of understanding your business process, and that means taking time away from running your business, will yield value. Whether you identify the need to update an existing computer system, introduce some new software development, or perhaps a mobile app to streamline your operations, this will all contribute ultimately to a successful project. And okay, we're a software development company. We were always going to focus on the software development projects, but that doesn't mean that this doesn't ring true. Software implementation and IT projects are not the be-all and end-all and the answer to every solution within a business. If you have an inherent business process issue or you have another inherent issue within the business, no amount of software is going to resolve that for you. And we're quite open and honest and candid with our clients where there is another root cause issue that needs to be resolved prior to any optimizations. So a little bit about me. I spent a little over 20 years now supporting clients and delivering software across a wide range of industries. Helped the likes of Danske Bank, Staples, Carlsberg, AstraZeneca, for example. I'm a TOGAF 9 registered qualified enterprise architect, Prince 2 qualified. Very down to earth and very practical with regards to the solutions that we offer. Worked across finance, sales, manufacturing, as you can see, pharmaceutical, for example. If you want to have a discussion with us and you'd like to understand how we might be able to help your business for no obligation chat, please get in touch with myself or any member of our team. Thank you.